Mill called hospital pretending to be my wife. First time posting here, so some pretext to the situation my wife and I are in. My wife went no contact with her parents about 5 years ago due to them being heavily into the JW cult and toxicity that came with it. At the end of November my wife and I had our first child. And a few days after getting home my wife realized some info on her health chart had been altered. Her emergency contact was changed to have her mother called first instead of me, and her religious preference to Jehovah's Witness. The hospital did an investigation and traced it back to her mother and logged a 4-minute phone call where my wife's mother pretended to be my wife, in which all the changes were made. The JW part is the important part because my wife and child would not have been able to get blood transfusions if needed. My wife has told them numerous times before no contact occurred that she wanted nothing to do with it. My question is, what are my options? In addition to the legal situation, have your wife contact every doctor and hospital she uses and ask them to password protect her medical records. Do the same for your child's medical providers. I'd suggest a protection order of some sort. If she's crazy enough to pull this with your newborn, who knows what she may try in the future. Definitely call the provider and have the info corrected. You can also have a note added to specifically not share info with a specific person, unless the caller has a privacy code, which is automatically generated on every admission. We only give this code out with your permission, even to someone that may have accompanied you to the ED. Unless you are unable to give that permission and we have a reasonable suspicion that you would be okay with us sharing with your companion. And just for your peace of mind, having JW as a religious preference would not preclude any of you from being offered or discussing blood transfusions. If it was a necessary treatment for whatever was happening, we would absolutely discuss with the patient and spouse their wishes and preferences. This is not legal advice, sorry. I work in a mental hospital, and sometimes we treat high-profile cases. We've already had to enforce a password for people calling to talk to a certain patient, whose case was in the news. Only people who gave the correct password could talk to him. I'd suggest contacting the hospital and talking to management, unit coordinators to put something similar in place to prevent anyone other than your wife to be able to modify or receive important medical info. Good luck. How did the mom know that your wife had a baby? Your wife may want to go no contact with whoever leaked that information. You failed to give your location. Fraudulently altering medical records is a crime in many jurisdictions. You should report this to the police. I suggest your work with the hospital because this is a serious breach. What steps were taken to ascertain identity? It's scary that someone can impersonate a patient and access records sufficient to change material information. Second, place an alert in your medical records at every provider office that no changes may be made to your account unless by you in person. Finally, lock down everything including your credit. This mill is dangerous and bat crazy.